you can't ride in my Little Red Wagon.
You can't ride in my Little Red Wagon.
Front seat's broken and the axle's dragging.
Front seat's broken and the axle's dragging.
Chugga, 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 chugga.
Chugga, chugga. Oh. Chugga, chugga, chugga.
Second verse, same as the first.
Second verse, same as the first.
A little bit louder and a whole lot worse.
A little bit louder and a whole lot worse.
All right, welcome, Camp Crosley friends and family. We certainly want to thank you for joining us for the 4th episode of the Crosley Campfire Chats, and my hope and desire is certainly that you've enjoyed these conversations and again, going back to what we do here at Camp Crosley and what we do well, and that's bringing people together, and so certainly bringing individuals from different eras of Camp Crosley's history, and so during this time, I want to certainly welcome a brother or sister combo, Hannah and Jake Sauce, to this week's Campfire Chat. Hello, guys.
Hi.
Hey.
So many of you that are watching may not know that Jake and Hannah Sauce are a set of triplets. And I know for many of you that may know Jake and Hannah, they may know just as kind of the brother-sister combo, but they are actually triplets. So tell me, guys, when you guys were coming to camp as triplets, I mean, because I certainly remember Sydney during her time at camp, what was that like?
Hannah, you want to take that one?
Oh. Well, I don't know. Sydney and I, we obviously were in the same cabin because we were both girls. So that was kind of fun because all 3 of us have very different personalities. So, and we obviously we're all in the same grade at school, but at school we were kind of separated by classes and stuff. And camp was a little different because it was a much smaller group of people. And I think it was a fun thing that we were able to share because everybody that's been to camp knows that the memories that you make there are very unique. So I think it was, at least while she was still going, it was something that the 3 of us could share, but it was fun.
Yeah,
so
I
Jake,
think.
What about you? What was it like coming as a triplet?
I think it was a lot of fun actually having my sisters there because like they would make friends and I would make friends, and then their friends would know who I was before they even met me, and they'd be like, "Oh, you're Hannah's brother," and stuff, and like vice versa. So I think it was just kind of like it was like a mild bit of celebrity, just being the triplets, and that was kind of like a little bit of our life because we were always just this package deal. Like people, and I don't know, like even to this day, people like kind of take pride in getting a picture with all 3 of us, for whatever reason, just because we were all born together. I don't know.
They might not have known our names and just call us like, "Oh, you're so-and-so's brother, or you're so-and-so's sister."
Mm-hmm. Well, we could also like after the summer, we could reminisce about counselors and stuff and people that we knew and things that happened, and going on the same week was nice in that regard. Kind of like going with a friend, but just with family. And
So
we're all pretty close.
One of the things that I remember, especially because your birthdays always fell during the summer, I think right in the middle of summer.
July 4th.
Your mom would take you guys out on a trip. So what were some of your guys' memorable birthday trips?
Well, I feel like I think I spent a lot of my birthdays at camp. I think to this day, I think because I've still been at camp, I think I've spent more birthdays at camp than I have not there. But we did have family that lived on Lake Tippecanoe. And I think we would go visit them sometimes. Hannah, can you recall any times we went and did something?
Well, in 2014, when we were counselors together, we actually we left camp for a few days to go to New York because it was our 21st birthday. So we had a big, family celebration. And Sydney obviously came too because she wasn't at camp that summer. But it was fun being at camp around that time because it was 4th of July. And with all the international staff there, they obviously thought it was a big deal because they were in America on Independence Day. And it was fun to be at camp during birthday time.
And the fireworks on the lake. And
yeah.
camp's just a perfect place for that. Mark, I think you grilled out a few times. I think you still do that. You still do Mark's Burger Bar?
We do. Actually, I brought it back last year, and so the kids enjoyed Mark's Burger Bar. That's for sure.
Heck yeah.
Still some of the best burgers out there here in northern Indiana.
They certainly
Oh,
are.
for sure, for sure.
So you guys have spent several years not only as campers but also as staff. So what was it about camp that drew you back year after year? And we'll start with Hannah. So what drew you year after year? Because again, was it almost 8, 9, 10 years as a camper and then several years as a staff? So what was it about Camp Crosley that drew you back year after year?
I don't know if I can pinpoint one specific thing, but I think for me, especially growing up, it was the people and the friends. I know that when I was a camper, and it was probably the same with Jake, the friends that I made, we'd end up going back the same weeks, every year. And then I don't know what you call it now, but it was called the SEAL program. I think you just call it counselors in training now, or
That's made it simple.
Made it simple.
Yeah.
That's what they were.
But we all were like, let's go do SEALs and let's make sure we're all here the same week. And it was very much about having that community of the same people coming back. And that's what kept pushing me to go for one. And the other thing was just the activities, like getting to be on the lake, getting to, water ski, the horseback riding, things that I couldn't do at home that were so unique to camp. And then obviously that translated into being a counselor. I thought, what better way to, be a part of it than to actually get to teach those activities and lead the camp songs and all that fun stuff. And I know the nature program was a big thing for me because I was studying animal science at the time and I loved animals. And I know that when I was a camper, it was an activity that was offered and I loved it. So getting to do that and teach it and kind of run the program was awesome. So I don't know, I guess it was just everything, but definitely the people, that was a big part of it.
So Jake, what about you?
Like Hannah said, I think that question is so hard because there's so many things I loved about camp, and to kind of crystallize that into one answer, I'm gonna try. So I think growing up, I was a pretty shy, introverted kid, and I think something about camp just got me completely out of that and got me out of my comfort zone. I think just being silly with people. I think if you saw me leading a song or doing a skit or you wouldn't think that I was a shy person because of how comfortable camp made me to do that. And I think I remember watching the counselors at opening Campfire and them just making fools of themselves, but having so much fun with each other. That just looked like the most fun anybody could have, and I think I just I had such a sense of belonging at camp. I felt so much like the best version of myself at camp that I had to come back every year to kind of reset myself, and to become the Jake that I knew I could be. And so the only job I ever wanted was to be a camp counselor. And I think to this day, I kind of want to be a rock star, but that's just a dream. But I think being a camp counselor was the only thing I ever wanted. And I was a counselor when I was 18, and I even had an offer to become a manager, and I turned it down, and I kind of regretted it after the fact. But I turned it down because I just loved being a counselor so much. I loved the cabin experience, and just taking care of this group of kids and getting to know them and seeing them grow up every year and all of that. It was a family, it was a community. It was just heaven on earth in so many ways. So much so that I'm still doing summer camp.
So I mean, Hannah, you mentioned earlier, and Jake, and I think you alluded to this too in your answer as well. I mean, it's the connections, the people that are at camp that enhances that experience and helps you from just from a growth standpoint. So who were some of those people that you remember? So when we say Camp Crosley, who are those people that you can remember that has helped you, or even now when you were a staff person?
Hannah?
Okay. Well, gosh, I feel like it's a really long list. I guess starting with staff, I know Jen Violi was my SEAL counselor. I still remember that. Amanda Harrison, she was the one that taught nature when I was a counselor there. Grant, of course, who can forget Grant? And Evie and Josh Franklin, and I mean, God, there's just so many. And the funny thing is like it's so easy to remember them all. Like I feel like, people in your life come and go all the time, but I could probably make a list of 30-40 people that I know them from camp. And I think that just goes to show that like I think it takes a special type of person to work at a summer camp. You need to have a certain mindset, a certain personality to really thrive in that environment and want to like be with the same people for your entire summer. And essentially, I wouldn't say give up, but kind of in a way give up your summer to be with friends at home or whatever, to go to that place. And I think that kind of just ties back to what Jake said, that like the people there, they're just a dime a dozen. I guess it's just hard to find people like that. So I don't know, I guess the list could go on and on, but those are just a couple of people that made me want to become a counselor. They were around during my childhood that made me want to work there.
Jake, what about you?
Yeah, I mean, Hannah hit the nail on the head. She mentioned a lot of the people that I was probably going to mention too. I know I was in Josh Franklin's cabin, I think 7 weeks in a row across 3 summers that he was there. So Josh Franklin is like number one. Yeah, I think I think he was just such a good counselor and great at like just making everyone, even kids that didn't quite fit into the group dynamic, like making everyone feel like they were a part of it, and finding the best in people. And he inspired me so much as a counselor. I mean, Evie and Grant and like I could just list off the all-stars of camp. But I think that's like I was saying, I think that's what makes camp so special is the people that are there. I think I've been at summer camps when nobody is there, and it's not the same. The magic's like it's not there when there isn't this community of just all stars. And I think, like Hannah said, camp just kind of attracts a certain type of people. Just and I think just getting all of those awesome individuals together, and the counselors are the ones kind of making camp happen. They're the ones in the cabins, the ones running the activities, and getting that like awesome group together is a special thing. So, and Mark, I didn't want to forget Mark. Mark is the best boss I've ever had.
Yes, of course, Mark. How could I forget about you?
So whoever's watching this, I did not pay them to say that.
Just a little bit under the table.
Mark's the OG. Yeah.
What was the phrase, Uncle Mark? I think that was my title for so long.
Yeah.
But I mean, just to hear how much camp has impacted you, and I think in some ways it's kind of led to what you guys are doing now. I know Hannah, you're a teacher now out of the Indy area, and Jake, you're still in summer camp and working with youth, and so Hannah, kind of just give us a timeline as far as when camp was kind of finished, kind of where life has taken you and what you're doing now.
Okay, I'll try to make it fast, but I think I mentioned you in the questions that you asked me before. I was going to school at Purdue, and I initially wanted to be a veterinarian because I love animals and I've always loved animals. And when I came to you in, 2014, that summer, I said, hey, I really want to do this. You were so supportive, and you were like, absolutely, let's make it happen. And I remember I came up there in the wintertime of 2013 and, did a complete overhaul of the nature center. And I'm like, these are the animals we're going to get. It's going to be awesome. And it was. And I think that summer, like it kind of lighted a spark in me. And I was like, I love animals, but I really love teaching. And I love and a lot of our classes at camp, our activities, we taught them how to do those things. And I think doing the nature center, I got to teach kids about animals, how to care about animals, how to care about nature, and where the animals live and all that stuff. And that kind of made me interested in teaching. So I still got my degree in animal science, but then after I graduated, I pursued a teaching license. And then I did that that took me about a year and a half to get through. And I got my teaching license in career and technical education agriculture, which is basically like animal stuff. And then I got a job teaching biology, and actually starting next school year, hopefully, fingers crossed, if we actually, go back in the fall, I will be teaching high school animal science full time. And I am starting that program at the high school that I'm teaching at. So I'm really excited. And a lot of that, started at camp. They really did. So I would go as far to say that camp opened a door to my life that I never knew was there for me. And, before camp, if you asked me to be like, if you said that I was going to be a teacher, I would have laughed in your face, because I never pictured myself doing that ever. So I have camp to thank for that.
So Hannah, what are some things that, maybe as a camper, or maybe even as a staff, some things that you learned at camp that kind of have carried along with you, that have kind of helped you in the teaching process?
Well, I think obviously the core values: honesty, respect, responsibility, and caring. You have to have all of those to be in charge of children and to be a leader to children. So I think every single one of those I use every day. And Jake obviously can probably attest to that, working with kids all the time as well. I don't know. I guess I can't pinpoint one in particular, but all four of those. And just, I think, it's easy to say that you can do all those things, but in camp you have to live it. And and most of the counselors, are still teenagers, 18, 19, 20. That's still really young to have that much responsibility over caring for young people. And it's kind of like being thrown in with the wolves in a sense. And I definitely grew up a lot. Camp really kind of, in a way, I know it sounds funny because when you're at camp, you're really silly and you don't feel like an adult, you feel like a kid, but you're also learning a lot of very important life skills that I feel like you don't really realize that you learn them until camp's over and you grow up and have to get a big boy, big girl job or whatever. But I definitely did a lot of growing, and those core values I use all the time, just trying to teach and be a leader and have kids look up to me, both academically and in their personal lives. I think that teachers have a lot of responsibility to, help kids deal with a lot more outside of the classroom than in it. So camp definitely helps with that, because you have similar things with kids coming to camp that are from all different backgrounds. You don't know what their home life is like. You don't know, some of them don't want to leave. And it just makes you wonder, maybe this is the place where they really feel loved and supported. And that's the same with teaching. So I don't know. I feel like I kind of I went around the question a little bit, so hopefully that answered it. But being a camp counselor is a lot like being a teacher in a lot of ways.
So basically what you're saying is that the real life experiences really helped you and propel you to be where you're at right now. And so, it's certainly great to hear. So Jake, right now you are in Colorado working for, is it for YMCA? Is that correct?
Yeah, YMCA
okay.
camp.
So you're and you're basically working at a summer camp out in Colorado as well. And so tell us a little bit how you got to that point in your life.
So I did 3 summers on staff at Camp Crosley, and they were just some of the most amazing times of my life. I ended up doing 1 fall season at camp, and then I decided to take a little bit of a break and just kind of, camp had been the only thing I'd ever really done. It was the only, I spent all my summers there. I spent, I wanted to take a break and just see if maybe there was other opportunities, maybe things that might interest me otherwise. So I took 1 summer off, and I was miserable. Oh my gosh, I missed camp so much. I missed it so much, and I felt like my time at Camp Crosley had kind of been run. I didn't want to. I think it's good to have new staff coming in and getting new ideas and whatnot, and I felt like it would be a good for me and for maybe another camp for me to try to try a different camp and get a change of scenery. And so I'd visited some friends out in Colorado, and I just, the first time I saw the Rocky Mountains, I teared up. It's like meeting God. It was, I was just like blown away by how beautiful the nature out here is. And so I just Googled summer camps in Colorado. Camp Santa Maria was the first one that came up. I applied. They had a position for, they call it Trekkers. I think it was Trekkers Village Coordinator, which was basically like the Explorer Program Manager, which I had done at Camp Crosley. So, so I just applied for that job, and I got it. I talked with my now boss, Taylor, and it was just a good fit. And so I moved out to Colorado. Camp Santa Maria, it's, I think we're going on our 14th year. So we're significantly younger than Camp Crosley. Camp Crosley is what, 106 or something at this point?
105.
105. Oh, it was close. I remember the 100th anniversary. That was a cool event. But and so it's significantly younger, and so their traditions were a lot less developed, I'd say. Like Camp Crosley has so many traditions, so many songs and skits and games and themes, and just all these things that make it feel like Camp Crosley. And Santa Maria didn't have a ton of that because it was so young. And so I was able to bring a lot of things from Camp Crosley, like a lot of songs that they'd never done, a lot of skits that they'd never done, different ways of doing the skits. Like, how you guys do the Silver Broom still at Camp Crosley, right? Silver Broom. And so they had a golden dustpan, and so how like someone beatboxes around the room. I brought that to there, and they loved that. And we actually lost the golden dustpan last year, and I found this like plastic bird. It's really random, but there's a plastic bird in the fireplace, and now we give out the plastic birds. So I don't know, just being able to kind of like leave my mark. And now the plastic bird is like this most coveted thing at camp. The kids like fight each other over it. Sorry, that's an unnecessary tangent. But so yeah, I was the Trekkers Village leader, and they noticed that I had kind of a penchant for that kind of programming side. So Taylor made a fun facilitator position for me, which is a great title, but not as official. Like it's basically like what a program director would be doing all the game planning and running campfires, and kind of just being at the front of all the action, being in front of the group. And so yeah, I was the fun facilitator the last 2 summers there. And now I'll be this upcoming summer, I'll be the assistant director at Santa Maria. I guess in the school year, I've been doing before and after school care. I did it for the Y for a little bit, and now I'm doing it for Boulder Valley School District. So yeah, it's basically just camp, but after school. I'm trying to think if I missed anything. Yeah, no, that's my life. I'm out in Colorado now.
Well, I mean, and again, man, it's great to hear that. I mean, that camp has influenced, both of you in regards to what you guys are doing now. And it's so great to see both of you have good and great success currently.
Yeah, Mark, I'm literally just doing my best Mark impression out there. Like when I run campfires, I do gator hunt. Like I do rare bog.
I need to come out there just to see, because I have a feeling maybe like a little mini Camp Crosley out there, and
it feels a lot like, and that's the thing. It feels a lot like Camp Crosley did to me. I think, Camp Crosley is obviously like my home camp, but I think it's really cool being able to go somewhere else and kind of, build some culture there.
But I mean, but that's the great thing. You're able to take the spirit of camp. And take it over to a different place. And I think that's one of the great things about camp. I mean, it's so hard right now with all the social distancing and physical distancing, because that's not what camp is. I mean, camp is about getting people together and having these great moments and these experiences that just enhance your life. And so speaking of, again, with the whole COVID-19, I mean, how are you guys doing? How are you guys managing your time right now? Or have you guys picked up any new hobbies? And I know, Hannah, with you teaching, I'm sure there's some e-learning pieces there, and so you're staying busy with that. But anything anything, advice or anything that you guys are doing during this time that, during the COVID-19 pandemic? And I guess we'll go with Hannah first because Jake just went off the screen.
I had to go get something to show you all.
Well, I'm actually sitting in my art room, my craft room in my house. So I've been doing a lot of crafts, a lot of art and drawing. I find that to be super therapeutic and relaxing. So I obviously know that this is a really stressful time for a lot of people, but I feel like I'm almost kind of, in a weird way, I'm kind of glad because I feel like everybody just needs to slow down every now and then. And it's been kind of nice to just slow down and take a deep breath. And, I've tried to focus on what I can control instead of what I can't control. I can't really control what's going on in the world. I can do my part, obviously, and quarantine and stay inside. But I've really loved the opportunity to just like focus on myself and focus on my loved ones from afar. I've done a lot of FaceTime and calling people that I haven't talked to in a while, and reconnecting that way. And just done a lot of art and things like that. So.
Okay. Jake, what about you?
Yeah, I think just trying to stay busy as much as possible, and like I don't know, like Hannah said, kind of taking advantage of the time that we've been given, to kind of reflect and work on things. Like I've never been a very artsy person. I play music, like I play a lot of instruments, but my girlfriend and I, we put on some Bob Ross and we like did a painting.
Yes.
And I made this. I want everybody to see it. I'm not going to put it up close because it's really not that good when you get close to it. But yeah, just taking up new hobbies, and I've been playing a lot of music, and I'm actually still I'm still working right now. I'm doing emergency childcare for kids of first responders and essential workers right now. So I have been staying a little bit busy, having a reason to go outside, and but yeah, just taking walks, getting out in nature, and remembering that there's a world out there.
Yeah. Well, again, thank you both of you for this interview, and we're not quite done yet. And I know that one of the things that kind of sticks with staff and with campers are certainly with camp songs. Sometimes it's the slightest word or the slightest phrase that you're just like, oh, these camp songs just start flooding back as far as memories go. And so again, I'm going to ask the both of you to kind of lead us and end this campfire chat with your campfire song.
So narrowing down a song that was my favorite was a very difficult thing, Mark. And
very. So
because I love most camp songs. Like I have probably 15 that I do right now regularly. But honestly, you asking us to have to do a song together made it a little bit of a challenge. And growing up, like I was saying earlier, growing up with being triplets, we always just get lumped in together. We shared a womb from the get-go. We shared birthdays.
Tough. It was so crowded in there.
Yeah, we had to share friends.
Share bedrooms.
Yeah,
share clothes.
Toys. Like I can remember this one Christmas morning that I came downstairs and there was this beautiful package with a bow on it, or a beautiful present with a bow on it, and it was shaped like a wagon. And I opened it up and lo and behold, it was the Little Red Wagon that I had wanted for so long. And
do
you know what the first thing Hannah asked me? She asked if she could ride in my Little Red Wagon. And I told her, you can't ride in my Little Red Wagon.
You can't ride in my Little Red Wagon.
Front seat's broken and the axle's dragging.
Front seat's broken and the axle's dragging.
Chugga, 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 chugga.
Chugga, chugga. Oh. Chugga, chugga, chugga.
Second verse, same as the first.
Second verse, same as the first.
A little bit louder and a whole lot worse.
A little bit louder and a whole lot worse.
You can't ride in my Little Red Wagon.
You can't ride in my Little Red Wagon.
Front seat's broken and the, one second, axle's dragging.
Front seat's broken and the axle's dragging.
Chugga. Oh, that's not coming out, is it? Chugga, 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 chugga.
Chugga, chugga. Oh gosh, that's a lot. Chugga, chugga, chugga.
Oh, goodness. Do it, do it, do it.
Chugga, 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 chugga.
Third verse, same as the first.
Third verse, same as the first.
A little bit louder and a whole lot worse.
A little bit louder and a whole lot worse.
You can't ride in my little red wagon.
You can't ride in my little red wagon.
Front seat's broken and the axle's dragging.
Front seat's broken and the axle's dragging.
Oh no, I can't open it. Chugga, 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 chugga.
Chugga, 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 chugga.
I think that's all we got. I ran out of food.
So again, only at camp would this be acceptable, and so man, I was not expecting that at all. But I'm glad. Oh man, that's really brought a smile to my face, and I know it'll bring a smile to everyone.
I think I got egg yolk on my ceiling, guys. Just so you know.
Oh,
I
no.
thought the egg yolk in itself was just great, but then everything else added, it was just amazing. So again, that concludes our Crosley Campfire chat, and certainly thank you very much to both Jake and the Sauce for such a great rendition of Little Red Wagon, and a little unexpected, but we certainly want to invite all of you to our next episode. It'll be Chris Carr, former alumni at Camp Crosley, and who is now one of the team doctors for the Green Bay Packers. So tune in next week for that interview. And again, remember that this is good night and not goodbye. Thank you, everyone.
You can't ride in my little red wagon.
You can't ride in my little red wagon.
Front seat's broken and the axle's dragging.
Front seat's broken and the axle's dragging.
Chugga, 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 chugga.
Chugga, chugga. Oh, chugga, chugga, chugga.
Second verse, same as the first.
Second verse, same as the first.
A little bit louder and a whole lot worse.
A little bit louder and a whole lot worse.